So we're obviously ready for our Christmas episode.
This is the Jingle All the Way edition.
Wait, Ed, I want you to turn to the side. Yes, so we could see that there's ears on your hat. I love it.
I would like to believe these are like Spock ears, because without the hat, that's a very Spock pointiness.
Are you saying Spock is an elf? That's rude.
I'm saying all elves are from Vulcan.
That's
a
I feel
stretch,
like they're
no.
too happy to be Vulcans.
They were rejected from Vulcan. That's exactly it.
All right, so here's the plan. We're going to do our top 10 favorite Christmas movies. So there were 2 of them that I felt like we were going to fight over who had custody, because usually we each bring 2 things to the podcast, and we kind of wanted to keep that formula, but to get to 10, there would actually need to be another 2, right? So I was like,
Which I was like a lot, but Catherine likes a lot.
well, so there were definitely 2 that I felt like we would fight over who got custody of them.
Because we did end up having a huge fight.
Wait, you're not wearing a hat. He's not wearing nothing.
What the?
He's a Grinch.
He's the tree trunk.
All
It's
right.
fine.
Okay. All right. So, John, what were you going to say?
Oh, what? Me?
Yes.
I was saying that we had a huge fight over what we picked. So perhaps your prediction wasn't true, but continue.
Well, I'm saying we didn't have a fight because I pre-selected these 2 knowing that everyone would fight over these 2. Okay, spoiler.
They're public domain, really, in our family.
Yeah. So it's Elf and A Christmas Story, right?
yeah.
Those are the biggies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So who wants to be the front man for Elf? I think
Santa! I know him! I know him! I know him!
I was like, it's got to be you, Ed.
Oh, wait. Am I doing Elf or A Christmas Story where I look like the kid? Because it could have been either one that you thought
Oh my
was.
gosh. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But
Well,
now we've committed. You're doing
Okay,
Elf.
so I'm doing Elf. Elf, directed by Jon Favreau.
Yay, Jon Favreau.
Iron Man's, limo driver. Until he upgraded to, like, management stuff.
Which also he directed Iron Man, so, But he does like to do not a cameo, but a part in stuff that he directs.
He did a cameo in this one.
Yeah, but this was one of his earlier directorial movies. He had done a couple of things before this, but this was the big thing.
Yeah, most people know him from Swingers.
Yeah, but he didn't direct Swingers. He wrote it. But
I
he-
didn't say that. I said most people know him from Swingers.
Correct.
Although-
I just wanted to clarify because I had been talking about directing.
With Vince Vaughn.
His co-star in one of my selects later on. It's a surprise in case anyone's very aware of what
interesting.
Vince Vaughn's
Okay.
Yeah, the
movie
connections, the
entry.
connections.
And, Will Ferrell plays a human being raised by elves in, the North Pole and finds out a little obviously too late to everyone else. But somehow he's just been in the mystery and magic of Christmas and doesn't realize he's 6'4" and taller than every other being around except the polar bears and the narwhal, Mr. Narwhal.
Poor Buddy the elf.
Yeah. It's a very, very sweet story.
It really is, and they got some interesting additional characters, like James Caan. You wouldn't have expected him in a real sweet Christmas movie. It's not really his energy.
Well, he's not actually being real sweet until, the end. He's being very grouchy, which is great.
You're not even singing along. Yeah, I am. I'm singing.
Oh, were you mouthing
right,
it just
right.
now?
And Bob Newhart, who was always never not like a sweetheart type of guy, but he was very like logical or between running the hotel and being a psychiatrist, I'm not giving him the sweet spot, nice older, grandpa style character. And then, of course, he shows up as the nice, sweet, older grandpa style character.
Papa
Yeah,
Elf, is that what he
because-
is? Yeah.
So once Buddy realizes that he is maybe not elfin born, and Papa Elf might not be his actual father. That's really the story of the movie, right, Ed? Because he basically goes to
New York.
Right.
And unfortunately, that news blew his mind, and he nearly passed out, knocked everything over in the test area. But don't forget, he was outed by Peter Billingsley from A Christmas Story, who's also
connection.
in that movie.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Christmas energy going on, despite even some of the not most Christmassy people in it. And in New York, he finds himself in a giant department store. I guess, do those still exist?
Oh, yeah.
They've all kind of disappeared in the Southern California area. The ones that were around from my childhood.
That would have an amazing toy department like that.
Yeah.
In New York,
Super
there's-
decorated,
Yeah,
too,
there's
yeah.
still like a Macy's, a Bloomingdale's. They would have a Santa Claus that you're going to sit on his lap. All those elements, yeah.
Even like A Christmas Story, which has a giant department store, Santa, elf sitting in his lap. That whole moment.
Oh my gosh,
There's
the
just, like,
connections.
so much less of that around nowadays. So I was like, oh, right. They're in a department store. Okay, right. And he just really like fully brings the Christmas energy and basically gets everyone on board in that department. Between Zooey Deschanel, eventually fully becoming a elf.
I mean, does he actually get the people who work in the department on board?
6-inch ribbon curls.
Yeah, that feels like not in the spirit to me. But.
Well, I think by the time you realize that they got even the New York State troopers kind of were on board by the end of the movie. They were such the wrong energy, and then they were like, really? Everyone was singing at the end. Even James Caan was singing, John.
Do you mean the Central Park Rangers?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Don't lose your hat. Don't lose your
I
hat.
don't want to lose my head over this, my ears. So, it's a great, fun romp, and I think there's actually a book published after the fact. It's pretend that this is based off of a book because there's a book publisher thing, but now I
that's
think there's
cute.
actually a book that you can buy, Buddy Christmas. I believe I have the special edition DVD with like all sorts of bonus features and like sing-along edition and a quiz and like cookie recipes that I've never used. You know?
Oh, wow, that's so
I hope
cute.
they have that spaghetti recipe with molasses syrup and. But Zooey Deschanel does sing quite a few kind of old timey Christmas carols by the piano, and Peter Dinklage has a great cameo in it. I mean, I feel like if you haven't seen it, I mean,
Yeah,
is there a chance you haven't seen it?
Well, this is just a reminder. You can watch it every year.
It's still
Yeah.
fabulous. It holds up.
I do love the story that Will Ferrell had pretty much just wrapped up Saturday Night Live the year before, and he's out in New York in this full
Elf uniform.
costume.
Will Ferrell in tights, and it was really cold out. The bright yellow tights do not cover the groin area either. So it was like, wow, for this to be like his first leading man movie, you might wonder if this was a risk that would not pay off.
Well, he has said in interviews, he was like, I might be insane. This might be really a bad move. But then it turned out it was not. It was magical.
Yeah. And they have stories about James Caan just looking at him like, what are you doing? Like through 90% of the film,
I'm
like, you're
sure.
an idiot. And supposedly afterwards he told him like, I didn't get it, but God, it actually worked. Okay.
Yeah.
And it really is a story about, where do you belong, finding your place in the world, and that you can be this very unique / unicorn type of human being, and you will find your people.
And to bring up something else that I'm going to reference later, a misfit.
I was just going to say,
So,
I don't think I'd ever connected that this is like the sequel to the Island of Misfits. This is a misfit finding his way back into the regular world and finding a way to fit.
There are so many elements of it, from the Rankin and Bass, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I mean, it's almost an homage, and then, as Ed said, like a continuation of the story of one of the misfits.
And remember, what I love in the end, it's not really Buddy doesn't change himself so much. He makes the world sort of also love who he is as well, which is a great message. It's like he didn't have to start wearing 3-piece suits. He didn't have to completely change who he is. The other great cameos are Ed Asner
As Santa,
yeah.
for sure.
Faizon Love as the manager was so talk
good.
about like you just got a little bit, but you're really going to go for it. So good. And Mary Steenburgen, who plays basically his stepmother.
James Caan's wife.
Yep.
I want to shout out Amy Sedaris as the secretary.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, you're so cute. Are you singing Telegram?
Yeah, no, he's
Go
not.
on in.
How many kittens?
Yeah, 8 kittens. Oh, I don't know. I've never declawed 8 kittens. Just bring them by the trailer, I guess. I'll try.
Click.
Like, what?
Artie
Oh, my God.
Lang is Gimbel's Santa. Great.
You did it! You did it! The world's best cup of coffee. You did it!
There's so
many.
There's so many iconic moments and lines in it, and it holds up. It's like a wonderful little like get in the holiday mood vibe.
Absolutely.
And I think it's it's contemporary enough because I love a movie that takes place in New York in winter. How fabulous. And it doesn't feel like dated, even though it was, I think initially, wasn't it out in
2003.
2003, so it's 21 years old. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, it definitely still holds up, and it is probably the tippy top, maybe tied for the tippy top of our 10 favorites. Elf, according to my Googling, is available to stream on Max Also available to purchase for streaming on Apple TV Plus and Amazon Video. Also, it's going to air on various places.